Hello, Shoyan here. The wall is finally built, so we'll have the kitchen units assembled over the next 2 days starting today. I can't do it, so I appreciate everyone's help. I'd like to proceed with some remaining wall work. We'll have the kitchen units assembled over the next 2 days starting today. We can't assemble a kitchen unit like a plastic model by ourselves. It must be such a challenging job because the kitchen design varies in each house. There used to be a lot of kitchen installers, but there really aren't many anymore. The kitchen unit delivery only took 2 weeks, but we were told it would take 1 month to arrange for the kitchen installers. I had to ask for a special favor, but we managed to get them to come in 2 weeks. Now the kitchen installers are really valuable, more than carpenters. The previous kitchen unit was about 5 meters long, all in a row. This time it is installed in an L shape, 2 meters by 3 meters. This means there's less space to walk. We only need to walk 3 meters to use the entire kitchen. We had to walk about 5 meters when using the previous kitchen units. However, there will be a fridge on the side, so we may need to walk about 4 to 5 meters. Unlike the previous design, the new kitchen unit is an elegant dark color. I wasn't involved in choosing the color, but I'm sure it will have a refined finish. Now the kitchen units have been installed. The massive pile of cardboard boxes is all gone. Now I start installing the few walls that are still left. There's only 1.8 meters of wall left. It's a mud plastered wall as well. Mud plastered walls are troublesome. Even if you just touch a few electrical wires or something, the wall all turns to sand. Mud plaster walls are good when installing, but only at the beginning. This 1.8 meter wall will be plastered on the kitchen side. I initially planned to finish the wall with planks on the other side and then finish with plaster on the edge of the wall, which is easy to work with. But I decided to install a plank and trim the junction to separate the walls. Since the old timber is stained, I installed the dark cedar plank first and then the trim. First, I attach a decorative plank on the column on the edge. It's easy to install something on the edge of the wall even if the column is leaning. It'll be vertical if you secure it based on the top or the bottom while checking it is straight. Install it at a right angle to the wall and secure it to be plumb. Then, I install trim made of dark cedar on both sides. It may look easy to install the plank plumb, but it's not as easy as new construction because many areas are uneven. Even the thickness of the shims behind this needs to be adjusted for both the right and left sides because the old column is twisted. I make sloped shims and adjust the thickness according to the space. This ensures the plank installed is straight. Next, I installed shelves. The wall is 1.8 meters long, so I made a board with a live edge and a significantly curved front. It would look stylish to install a 1.8 meter shelf on a 1.8 meter wall, but it was too long and would be in the way when entering through the kitchen door. Because of that, I could only make it into a 90 centimeter shelf on the wall. It was a shame, but I had to cut the 1.8 meter live edge plank in half. After cutting the plank, the radius of the front side would be reduced to less than half. So I add a little curvature, but that means I also need to remove some live edge. In the end, it looks like a live edge, but it's actually a fake live edge. It's not bad because it'll be finished beautifully and smoothly this way. It would be good as a place for small things like a phone charger or something. Actually, anyone knowledgeable would recognize that this edge is removed and made to look like a live edge. This is because a real live edge doesn't have any grain pattern. It's a single color, smooth and hard bark. However, once the bark is planed, the grain and fibers of the wood always become visible. If you see a figure on the edge, it's always a fake live edge. Tables are often finished in this way, but it doesn't mean that these live edge-like designs are bad. It just means that it is not a natural live edge. I cut the ends of the shelves at a right angle to the wall. If the corner is cut at an angle or rounded for safety, the design feels uncomfortable. I think it's okay to keep the corners as they are and blame the person if we get injured. As this shelf board is narrow, I don't use a bracket or anything under it. The strength is enough to put it in the wall a little and sandwich it with furring strips. If the board warps in the future though, there is nothing more we can do. I cut the width of a switch and installed the top shelf board. That way, the switch and the shelf will be arranged in a way that doesn't look out of place. Then, I finished the surrounding wall with boards as well. There is a storage room next to the kitchen. While we are at it, I want to replace the old entry door with a new one. I installed a door roller guide on the threshold groove. It is thin and has grooves, so the door rollers can run smoothly on it. It is about 3 millimeters to 3.5 millimeters thick. I'm sure the new door will move more smoothly. I need to install this now because I won't be able to install the door roller guide later after the door pockets are installed in the front. I often forget to do this, so I'll install it right now. Next, I installed the crown molding and baseboard. They are made of thin solid hinoki cypress, less than 9 millimeters. This wood is left over from milling. I planed it and it is now about 7 millimeters thick. The wall will be covered with plaster of about 3 millimeters, so the timber is proud about 3 to 4 millimeters. I think this is enough. I slightly glue them and secure them with a pin nailer.
I'm Shoyan's son. Sorry for the sudden appearance of my voice. For some reason, I'm doing the talking instead of my dad. My dad is currently demolishing the wall above the wall cabinets. we all decided on the color of this kitchen and what we should add. One day, my dad happened to go alone to decide on the color of the wall above the wall cabinets. And without consulting anyone, he decided on this grey color. After it was completed, all our family members said we never heard about that, and we had a bit of a fight. I asked my dad to voice this part, but he said, "You should do it," so I'm talking now. The kitchen units have a good pattern, but if the grey wall with no pattern rises above, we thought the design would feel dull and flat. My dad said this color is definitely the way to go, but it doesn't look right to us. We had a fight about this because if I didn't say anything, I would regret it for the rest of our lives. But because of this fight, the plasterboard will be installed on this wall and finished with plaster. I think this fight will make for a stylish kitchen, and I'm glad we had this argument.
Finally, I cleaned the crumbled mud plaster stuck to the thick central pillar when I dismantled the wall. Since it's not a good idea to just fill in the notches on the column with pieces of wood, I will attach a plank to hide them. Last time, I installed the vertical trim running from the floor to the ceiling on the central pillar using quick-drying urethane glue. This time, I am using regular wood glue because it takes time to install on the front and horizontally. I need to glue the back and the sides, but the column is thick, so it can't be held in place with only a clamp. I am using my trusty tension rod. A tension rod is very good at firmly holding the timber in place. Depending on the location, it will attach things better than using clamps. But the disadvantage is that it is easy to scratch when removing it and you can't go through that area for a while, for example, for a whole night. That's a bit problematic, but since the clamps can't hold the wood vertically, I'd like to manage to attach them with the tension rod. Now, it's closed to traffic until morning. The kitchen units were assembled over a 2-day period. I managed to install the walls in the entire area. Tomorrow, we'll have the plasterer apply the plaster. I'm sure it will be finished beautifully. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.